Thanks again for turning on the Powerful Communication Podcast. I'm Colin Kelly from Comsteria, and you can catch up with what we're about at comsteria.co.uk. If it's media training, presentation skills training, maybe keen to use some new platforms like Descript, or learn how to podcast yourself, or have us produce or edit a podcast for you, do get in touch. We'd love to work with you. And if we can't help, then we'll know someone who can. I've been in this business for a little while now, and it's amazing when you see the same sorts of themes and questions and issues come round and round and round. And I think one of the things about these times that we're living in is people have become very reactive. We all want to do well. We're all probably feeling like we're being squeezed quite hard. And so we're reacting against that, and we're thinking, right, I need to be on top of this. I need to keep on top of what's going on, and I need to get in sharp and early, and God forbid that I get left behind. But I think what it's resulted in is some people, and sometimes whole businesses or departments or management, who they blow, whichever way the wind blows, they get caught and they go in that direction. I've seen it, a couple of things recently. Andy Burnham becoming Prime Minister, and he has a certain approach to social media, and some people don't like it. Some people say it's genius. Some people say, oh wow, it's the team behind him. Other people say it must be him. Every leader should be doing it like this. Let's do what he does. Let's not do what he does. And the other place I've seen it is Holly Willoughby. So Holly Willoughby started her YouTube channel, and some people that like it, some people think it's awful. It's a sign that the bubble's burst, or it's a sign of what's to come. People are so heavily influenced by these external factors that because the Prime Minister does something, or Holly Willoughby does something, that there's some sort of meaning in that for you and your organisation. And I think the thing I've learned over the last 15 years or so, in my own experiences, but also people I've worked with, is it doesn't work like that. If you're selling scaffolding in Bells Hill, or running a coffee shop in Brighton, what Holly Willoughby does on YouTube, or what Andy Burnham's doing with his LinkedIn videos, it really doesn't necessarily have any bearing on you. Now, it might have. If there's something there that you think is relevant, that you want to take and learn from and make your own, then great. But there isn't a shortcut, and what works or doesn't work for one person could have a totally different impact on the other. Just because at the moment, after 3 or 4 days, Holly Willoughby's not exactly setting YouTube on fire, it doesn't mean that creator-led independent programming won't work. It doesn't mean that someone else can't come along and do exactly what she's done and get a result. And equally, just because the leadership style of Andy Burnham lends itself to these very open, this kind of down-to-earth, independent, emerging media, or even just creating it all himself, it doesn't mean that no leader's ever going to sit down with Newsnight or Channel 4 News or whatever in the future. It doesn't mean that, for example, the cover of Time magazine's worth nothing just because Andy Burnham is making his own TikToks. It feels like people, they're scared of getting left behind, but at the same time, they're also looking for shortcuts. And one person that I always come back to when I think about this stuff is a guy called Seth Godin. And if you've not read his books or his blog, it's definitely worth a look. He has blogged every day for, I think it's getting on about 20, maybe more than 20 years now. He just blogs every single day. Now, he'll tell you that that's changed his life, it's changed his business, completely changed his reputation, changed his income. It's been transformative for Seth Godin. That doesn't mean if you start blogging tomorrow that it's going to be transformative for you. It doesn't mean it will work for everyone. But if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't mean it's going to stop working for him. Everybody has to find their own way that works for them, and you have to stick with it and persevere. And don't be blown around in the wind, and don't go off on every new shiny thing and think that it's the ultimate answer to everything. Stick to your lane, know yourself, know your audience. It's the consistency that's so important in this game. And I appreciate the desire to stay up to date with what's going on. But do you know what? There's also a place for sticking your head in the sand and just cracking on. You know, in a world of turmoil and change, I think sometimes it's those people that just stay the course. They seem to be all right. I've never heard anyone say, I blogged every day for 20 years and I regret it. You know, or I've never had anybody say, I gave up Instagram and I regret it. I didn't make YouTube videos and I regret it. Stick to what works for you.